The streetlights of New London flickered under the rain. Streaks of neon reflected on wet glass and steel. Dr. Aiden Cross stood by the tram station. Collar up, wrist pad glowing faintly in the gloom. It was 21:05. She was late again. She was always late. 5 minutes. Never more, never less. He smiled at the thought. Mira Lorne was like that, a chaos wrapped in precision. A scientist with no sense of time, yet a mind that rewrote the laws of it. Their shared lab at the Temporal Mechanics Institute was full of her coffee mugs, her half-finished schematics, and her laughter echoing off the metal walls. But tonight, the bench beside him stayed empty. The tram came and went. The rain got heavier. At 21:17, Aiden's wristpad pinged a message. Don't wait up. Something came through the gate. I need to check it before morning. No time-stamped glitch. Just gone. He frowned. The gate. Project CHRONOS. The experimental temporal aperture she'd been calibrating for weeks. A shimmering oval of light meant to observe fragments of possible futures. They weren't supposed to touch it. Just look, just measure. But Myra had never been good with boundaries by morning. She still hadn't come home. Aiden didn't panic. Not yet. She'd pulled all-nighters before, sleeping in the lab wrapped in lab coats and equations. But when he arrived at the institute, he found the containment floor locked down under a red security seal. Restricted access, level Omega breach. He scanned his credentials, forcing entry. The lab was chaos. Tools scattered. Data drives melted. Glass panels spiderwebbed from an explosion. The Chronos Gate, once a neat oval of humming light, was now a warped, pulsing sphere, suspended in the air like a wounded star. And Mira was nowhere. He checked the logs. The system showed a jump. Not a simulation, a transfer. Someone or something had crossed through timestamp 213. Destination unknown. Aiden's hands trembled. She'd gone through. He spent the next 48 hours trying to trace the anomaly. Every line of code she'd left behind felt like a whisper from her equations mixed with poetic fragments. Jokes hidden in formulas. One phrase repeated throughout the code like a signature. 5 minutes off sync. He didn't understand. Not until he reran the temporal calibration data. The gate wasn't 5 minutes off. It was 5 days. She hadn't gone to another place. She'd gone to another time. The institute wanted to shut it all down. The board sent soldiers, drones, and lawyers. The Chronos breach is unstable, they told him. She's gone. Accept it. But Aiden didn't. He couldn't. He rebuilt the synchronization chamber in secret, wiring his personal lab with stolen stabilizers and neural feedback cores. If Myra could step forward 5 days, maybe he could follow. He coded the parameters, heart pounding as the gate began to hum. Destination plus 5 days, 0 o'clock hours. The light grew, a storm of color twisting in on itself, forming a mirror of liquid time. He stepped through. The world on the other side was quiet. Too quiet. He was still in the lab, but the building was dark, abandoned. The walls were scorched. The air smelled of ozone and burnt plastic. Dust covered the consoles. He checked his wristpad 5 days later. He'd made it, Mira. His voice echoed. Mira, are you here? Something flickered in the corner of the room. A holographic projection, half broken, Mira's face glitching in and out. Aiden, if you're seeing this, you made it through. Her voice cracked through static. Don't look for me. The gate, it wasn't stable. I tried to recalibrate it, but it's not 5 days ahead anymore. It's folding. The further I went, the more time branched. I don't know which one's real anymore. He reached for the console. Where are you? I'm close, she said, eyes flickering, but not here. Not yet. Maybe I'm the feed cut off. He slammed his fist on the table, then froze. On the floor beneath the main terminal lay a small pendant, the one she always wore. A simple silver chain shaped like an infinity loop. He picked it up. Still warm, he followed the signal her message left behind. Weak pulses in the quantum residue of the Chronos core. They led him through the empty corridors of the institute, where every clock was frozen at 2:13. 5 days ago, the moment she vanished. He entered the reactor bay and stopped. There, suspended in midair, was a shape, faint, translucent, like the shadow of a person. Her outline, her movement. Mira. He reached out. His fingers passed through light. The projection shimmered, her face turning toward him as if she heard Aiden. Her voice wasn't in his ears. It was in his mind. Where are you? He whispered. Between, she said, softly. 5 days forward, 5 days back. I keep slipping. The gate fractured the stream. He shook his head. I can bring you back. Just tell me what to do. You can't fix time, Aiden. It doesn't want to be fixed. It adapts. Don't say that. His voice broke. I built this with you. I believe in this. Her image flickered again, fainter. You always believed in me, but time, it doesn't care about belief. The light dimmed. If I don't stabilize soon, I'll spread across every branch. I'll exist everywhere and nowhere. He stepped closer, desperate. Then let me come to you. No, she shouted, voice echoing across the room. If you follow, you'll be lost too. Please, Aiden, don't. The light around her began to unravel, collapsing into motes of golden static. He didn't listen. He never did when it came to her. He ran back to the gate chamber, fingers flying across the console. The coordinates blinked red, unstable, collapsing. Destination, -5 days, +5 days dual stream. He hit enter. The room exploded with light. When he woke, he was lying on cold metal. The hum of the reactor was gone. Outside, through the observation glass, the skyline was unfamiliar. Jagged towers of black metal reaching into a dark sky. "Mira," he called. A faint laugh answered him. He turned, and there she was, standing at the edge of the platform, hair shimmering like starlight, eyes glowing faintly silver. "Mira," she smiled sadly. "You shouldn't have come. 5 minutes late," he whispered. "That's all you ever were." "Not this time," she said. "This time, I'm 5 days away. Always will be." He reached for her. His fingers met light again. The space between them rippled. She was fading, splitting into countless mirrors of herself, scattered through the time stream. "Time didn't let me go," she said softly. "It made me part of it. Then I'll stay too." She shook her head. "You can't. Someone has to remember what we tried." He felt the pull of gravity changing, the gate reopening behind him, reality trying to correct itself. "Goodbye, Aiden." He stepped forward anyway. Not goodbye, just 5 minutes late. The light consumed them both. 5 days later, the Institute reopened the Kronos chamber. They found no bodies, no trace of Aiden or Myra. Only two things remained. A silver infinity pendant resting on the console. And on the wall, etched in the burned metal, a sentence written in her hand. 5 minutes late, but 5 days apart. The gate never activated again. Some said they'd died. Others swore they'd seen them, flashes of two figures walking through storms of light, hand in hand, whispering equations to the stars. And perhaps, somewhere in the branching folds of time, that was true, because even when everything else dissolved, their pattern remained a loop forever repeating, a love that existed in two moments at once.